Self-Esteem Queen here, coming to you with a video about something that I think it's time for me to touch on. I said last week on Facebook that I would be revealing a little bit more about what's been going on with me for the last 3 years. It's nothing like major, and it hasn't been like a big secret to people that know me. But I normally don't talk about things until I'm at the point where I can overcome them or I have overcome them. And so today I'd like to talk to you guys about loving and living with someone who hasn't overcome the abuse that they've suffered. So, my dad passed in like 2009, January 2009. And before my dad passed away, my dad told me that I was going to have to go take care of my mother because the guy that she was with wasn't worth a shit. And I knew that, but I was hoping that what he meant by that was that I'd need to come and, help her get out of a situation and not be back. I ended up moving to the desert from the beach a few years ago, and I realized that my mom was in yet another situation that was very abusive, not physically, but very mentally and emotionally and spiritually abusive. My mom has been living with battered woman syndrome for years, and battered woman syndrome is the reason that my mom kind of gave me to somebody else to raise at 14 and a half. Like, she was dealing with what she was dealing with. The guy said, choose, me or your kids, and she chose him. And, now I'm almost 37, and, my mom, I literally have seen her relive all over again what I saw at 14. And it has been difficult to first of all, I had to convince my mom that the guy that she was with was no good. And, when you are helping someone and you love someone that is living with battered woman syndrome and they haven't really got the help that they needed, and now they're back in a situation that causes, that to flare up for them again, where, they don't, a lot of women that suffer from battered woman syndrome, they don't know how to communicate. Not even with family members. They don't, sometimes they lie just out of, even when the truth will do, just out of fear, that they may say the wrong thing. And so it's taken me well, first of all, it's been a year since I got my mom away from this guy. And, every day, sort of like if you've ever seen the movie 50 First Dates. In the movie 50 First Dates, Drew Barrymore, she, loses her memory, and every day Adam Sandler has to remind her, I love you, whatever. Okay. So there are instances in which my mom is so used to that abuse, that she'll do or say things to antagonize an argument. I have to remind her, that I retired her not to slave her. I retired her not with a hidden agenda other than to, watch my kids, which is what she said she desired to do. I have to convince my mom and reassure my mom that, I'm not going to just leave her on a street corner or, abandon her because she hasn't yet let go of the guilt that she feels of abandonment. And so during this last year, I also found out that I am living with PTSD from a number of things, not all associated to my mom. I was molested by my uncle at a young age. I was pregnant at a young age and had an abortion that I felt. A lot of things have happened to me. So, or I've experienced a lot of things. And so while it hasn't made my heart very hard, what it has done is it's made me sort of like a no nonsense type person. So I have to constantly remind myself to act in love, because The only way to heal my mom is through love. And sometimes it's hard for me. I'll go out in the garage and I'll just cry because, you know, I help so many people. Like, I get emails, I get cards, I get gifts. I help so many people, but I can't help my mom. You know, with this God-given gift, I can't help my mom. And so I've started to direct her to, books that I think will help her, like Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I have started to, you know, find ways to say things that are easy for her to digest. If you follow me on YouTube, I'm a pretty no nonsense person. Like, I tell it how it is. Like, and I realize with my mom, I can't do that because even though I'm her daughter and even though she knows that this is how I am, when I talk to her in a certain way, it triggers her battered woman syndrome. And then when she does certain things, it triggers my PTSD. And so I think a lot of people, fail at relationships, whether it's personal relationships, friendships, because they don't take the time to look at and love someone for where they are and for who they are. I have severe anxiety. I'd rather not be, like, I can go and speak in front of thousands of people, but in my personal space, I don't like to go to the grocery store where a lot of people are there. I'm a collector of energies just because I'm a healer. And so for that reason, it's very difficult for me to be around different energies. Like, I'm highly sensitive. I don't like to be on the freeway when other people are on the freeway. Or I like to have as the least amount of people as possible. I like to, drive. I don't want to, I just, anxiety. And over the years, that's developed. So I have to remember that just as my anxiety and post-traumatic stress, just as those things have taken years to sort of develop inside of me, and it takes work, daily work with myself, my mom also has to do that daily work. And we have bad moments in some days, and then we have days that are like purely blissful. And, I just want people to take the time to understand if somebody is hurting from something. You know what I mean? Like, take the time to really find out if you have a friend or you're in a relationship and somebody just switches up all of a sudden, or, their personality starts to change. Like, what's going on in their life? Are they depressed? Are they dealing with something at work? Are they dealing with something in a personal relationship? Maybe it's a family problem. If you don't take the time to figure out what's wrong with someone, but instead judge them and say, oh, they tripping, oh, they've changed, oh, take the time to really focus on, healing somebody through love. There have been moments in this last year that I literally found myself yelling at my mom, and then I had to go outside and start crying because who yells at their mom? And it was really the frustration of, not being able to help her as somebody who helps everybody. And I realized that it's not my job to help her. And even when I assist other people, I'm not the one really doing the job. Like, there's something within me that comes from above and gives the right words to the right person at the right time. And I'm blessed and grateful because of that. But I had to just stop and realize it's not my job to fix my mom. In as much as it's not her job to fix me. I retired my mom before retirement age. My mom turns 60 in a few days. And she retired literally after she turned 59. That was a goal of mine. But now that my mom has stopped, she doesn't have to get up, take care of her husband, do this for her husband, do that, she doesn't have to drive to work. Now she has time to stop, and maybe she's asking herself, well, what am I supposed to do now? Well, maybe she's not used to there not being any drama. Maybe she's not used to there not being arguments. Maybe that's what she's used to, and I had to remind myself of that. But I also had to start telling my mom what I'm used to: positive, open communication, transparency, telling the truth when the truth will do, you know, and not on big things. One day I came home and Erica was like, jelly beans, and I was like, how does she know what jelly beans are? My mom's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. She's not around anybody else. She doesn't watch like regular TV. How would she know what jelly beans are? I don't know. Well, my mom could have just said, I went and got some jelly beans. I gave her a jelly bean, but my mom, no, I didn't want a kid to have no jelly beans. So, little stuff like that. But I feel like if you lie about something small, you lie about something big, you know, and I have to realize that, you know, I have to speak to my mom in love. And some of you out there are speaking to people who are mentally ill with such words of extreme hate. I've been there. And I need you to know that that doesn't help to heal anybody. You know, if you have to be around somebody with so much anger and frustration, maybe you should write them a letter, you know, but I encourage you not to abandon people just because they're ill mentally at the moment, because I'm sure that some of you guys are mentally ill. Maybe you haven't been diagnosed. Maybe you have. Maybe you don't believe in man-made medication. Maybe you self-medicate. Whatever the situation is, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to simply say that I thank God that the people who are in my life haven't given up on me. I'm very open and honest and transparent with the things that I live with. I don't suffer from anything, but the things that I live with and the things that I'm working to overcome and the things that I have overcome and the things that I've backslid on. And so in that self-work, I realize that when I look at somebody else who has a mental illness, it's not my job to bash them because of that illness. It's my job to uplift them with love. And I encourage you to take the time to just look around at the people and how you talk to them and the words that come out of your mouth. Because some of the words that are coming out of your mouth are helping somebody deeper into their mental illness, maybe deeper into their depression, deeper into their suicidal thoughts. I find it so sad that I never run out of work as a mentor to teenagers who deal with suicidal thoughts, depression, self-mutilation, cutting. You know, I don't run out of work. And I realize I take some of that work home sometimes, you know, because I'm giving out so much of my energy in order for them to get so much of the energy that, you know, they need. And in turn, I take in that energy, and sometimes I don't really have a place to, you know, let it out. And so I'm working on that. A part of working on that was, you know, really stopping, you know, the whole hustle and bustle of feeling like I needed to leave my house in order to get my work done. Like, I'm in my home office right now, and, you know, the twins are downstairs. They're not bothering me, and my mom has them, and everything is going great. I've learned to also celebrate the moments that are going great. You know, I thought that I needed to leave my house and go to an actual office in order to get my work done. And I found that I wasn't getting anything done except for, you know, acne on, you know, this once acne blemish free face. I found myself gaining weight, which, by the way, I've lost. And I found myself binge eating. I found myself sort of depressed, trying to figure out, you know, and most of all, I found myself not being true to me. And sometimes depression happens, or mental illness can become something that may not be a mental illness, can become such because we don't take the time to give ourselves the self-care that we need. And so, you know, love on people, you know, and if anybody can tell you that, it would be me. Because if you would have told me, you know, in my teenage years that I'd be, you know, helping my mom out of an abusive marriage and retiring her before retirement age, I would have said, no, ma'am, not me. Like, no, ma'am, not me. I had a very strong hate for my mom back then. And thank God that I don't feel that anymore. But it's a journey every day because, there will be moments that reminds me, of when I was 14. And I have to work on making sure that, I don't become the next person to batter my mom. Some of you guys are living with someone who told you they were in an abusive relationship or an abusive friendship or had a bad family background, and you took all that in a good place. And then when you got pissed at them, you took everything that they told you in a safe, good place and you used it against them. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the way. That's not the way. That's not the way to help heal somebody. Love heals. And your words, right, they either bring someone life or death. And so I'm asking you today, what are your words bringing people? What emotions do people exude when they are around you? And if you are true to yourself, you'd be able to answer that question, either with a smile on your face or with sadness in your heart. So I want you to remember that a lot of us are walking around with skeletons that we don't really want to talk about. I mean, I might be transparent about a lot of things, but there are some things that I'm not always that transparent about because everything is not for everybody, and everything that has happened to me is not for everybody's consumption. I mean, there are some things that I tell some people and not others, depending on the group and what they need to heal from. And I'm telling you right now that you gotta watch the words that you use with people that you know are suffering from something, whether it be depression. You gotta watch, you know. And I've learned that over the last year. And so I'll be sharing a little bit of my journey on my YouTube channel. It's crazy because I don't watch TV. I only watch people on YouTube. But every time I get in front of my computer, I could never, or my camera, it's just weird for me to. I used to do videos all the time, and then, I sort of got into other things and stopped doing videos, and I realized that I miss doing these videos. So, pray with me, you guys, because I want to start doing this again and, sort of getting out the healing process because a lot of you need it. A lot of you want me to coach you, and I don't really have the time or the capacity to do that anymore on a one-to-one basis. But maybe through these videos, I can help some of you also to heal and to treat the people in your lives a little better. I watched how, my mom's soon-to-be ex-husband treated her over the last few years, and he's lucky to be alive, very lucky. And I'm blessed that I was able to get her out of that. And it doesn't matter how many days I have to wake up and remind her that I did not retire her to slave her or to make her clean a 6-bedroom house by herself, or I retired you because you deserve that. No matter what has happened in my past, no matter what you think you've done to me, you deserve that. And there's probably somebody in your life that deserves for you to stop and tell them that they deserve the love that you give them, not the hateful words. And so we're all hurting. I live with PTSD. My mom is living with battered woman syndrome. And, we're healing the world one person at a time through our experience. So I hope that this has benefited someone. If you like this video, share it with somebody that may need to see it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the video, please thumbs up my video. And if you have any comments, please be sure to let me know. Until next time, I love you. And there's absolutely, positively nothing you can do about it.
Who am I to be here, climbing all my